Chapter 1. The Whisper of Waves. The wind was heavier than usual that morning, blowing over the cliffs of Isseris with an odd, mournful note. Alya Seran stood at the edge of the stone pier, her fingers curling around the rough wood as the waves crashed beneath her. The sky was thick with the scent of salt water, but today it felt different. The ocean had always been a constant in her life, like an old friend she could never quite understand. But today it was whispering something to her, something ancient. "Another storm is coming," she muttered to herself, but the words sounded hollow, as if someone else had spoken them. She had always been attuned to the sea. Most Aquarim had a certain kinship with the ocean, but Alya's connection was stronger. As a child, she had spent hours listening to the rhythms of the waves, feeling the pull of the deep, as though it were part of her own blood. But she knew better than to indulge in fantasies of ancient kingdoms and forgotten deities. Her life was simple, a life of mundane, surface-dwelling affairs. But this morning felt different. She felt it in the air, thick with foreboding. The sea, once calm and steady, seemed to stir with an unsettling restlessness. Then the cry of a gull pierced the air, sharp and desperate, followed by a strange sound. A distant, low rumble like thunder beneath the waves. The stone beneath Alya's feet vibrated slightly, and she swallowed hard. The feeling was unmistakable. Something was wrong. Before she could contemplate it further, a splash broke through the air, followed by the sound of wood splintering. Alya turned, her heart leaping into her throat, just in time to see a battered ship approach the pier, its sails torn and sails sagging. The crew was in chaos, shouting orders as they tried to steady the ship. It was a pirate ship, and on the deck, standing at the helm, was Kieran Wyrmbane, the infamous pirate captain known for his reckless escapades and dangerous pursuits across the seas. Alya's heart skipped a beat. She had heard of Kieran before. Of course, everyone had. The stories told of his ruthlessness, of his quest for treasure, and of the black mark he carried. But his presence in Isseris was odd. Pirates rarely ventured near the peaceful settlement, and Kieran Wyrmbane's arrival now felt like an omen. He spotted her instantly, his sharp gaze locking onto her like a predator. "Seran," he shouted, his voice booming across the harbor. "Get down here. I need your help." Alya hesitated. Her instincts told her to retreat, to avoid the danger that followed him like a shadow. But something in his voice made her step forward. She had never been one to run from trouble. A few long strides brought her down to the docks, where Kieran was dismounting from the ship's rigging with the agility of someone who had spent his life on the sea. He looked the part, his dark hair wind-blown and tangled, a ragged cloak draped over his broad shoulders, and a scar tracing down his cheek. "What's going on?" Alya asked, though her heart was already pounding with an unshakable sense of urgency. "Something's wrong," Kieran said, his voice dropping low as he looked around as if he were expecting something to emerge from the waves. "We found something out there, something that shouldn't exist, and now it's following us." He reached into his belt and pulled out a small object wrapped in a cloth. With quick fingers he unwrapped it, revealing an object that sent a chill through Alya's bones. It was an ancient stone tablet, its surface etched with strange swirling symbols that seemed to pulse with a faint blue glow. The edges were worn, but the glow was unmistakable, alive with an energy that felt like it had been waiting for centuries. Alya stared at it in shock. "Where did you find this?" Kieran's expression darkened. "Out in the middle of the ocean, just beyond the Isle of Thrain. We had no idea what it was, but when we tried to move it, that's when the storm started." Alya's eyes widened. She had heard of the Isle of Thrain, a place long avoided by sailors due to its reputation as a cursed location. But she had never thought much of the tales, dismissing them as superstition. Yet, looking at the artifact, she knew in her bones that this was no ordinary relic. "Why did you bring it here?" she asked, her voice steady despite the storm of questions in her mind. "I don't know," Kieran admitted, his gaze flicking nervously toward the horizon where dark clouds were already gathering. "But I think it's calling to you. We need to get it to the coast's old temple. It's the only place that might have answers, but we're not the only ones interested in it." Alya felt her blood run cold. The sense of danger had only grown stronger. Who else knows about this? She asked, almost dreading the answer. The Wraiths, Kieran said grimly. I don't know who they are or what they want, but they're hunting this thing, and they'll stop at nothing to get it. The sound of distant drums began to echo over the sea, the rhythmic beat like a war drum. It was faint, but the warning was unmistakable. They were already too close. Alya's thoughts raced. Her mind was clouded with the weight of the unknown, but one thing was clear. Whatever this artifact was, whatever it was connected to, it was the key to something far greater and more dangerous than she could have imagined. As she looked, out at the horizon, a faint, unexplainable pull in her chest grew stronger. The ocean was calling her, and this time she couldn't ignore it. I'll help you, Alya said, her voice firm. But we need to leave now. The storm is coming fast, and the Wraiths won't wait for us to be ready. Kieran nodded, a faint smile, tugging at his lips. I knew you'd come through. We set sail at once. The two of them turned toward the battered ship, their destination set. Alya knew there was no turning back now, but as they boarded the pirate ship and the anchor was raised, Alya couldn't shake the feeling that they were sailing into the heart of something far more dangerous than either of them could understand. The ocean whispered its secrets to her, and this time she was listening. As the pirate ship cut through the growing waves, a shadow loomed beneath the water, just out of sight. The sea had become still, but not peaceful. Something ancient stirred in the depths, drawn to the artifact, and it was coming for them.